Can we get rid of the city clerk emblem down there? So that Mike Johnson will jump on here?
It will make room for all of them, Sue, when he joins in, I think.
It will make room for all of them. And for the view that you see is not necessarily what the people on TV are going to see. You can change your Mike just came on.
Oh, there you are. Hi, Mike.
Vacation, Mike.
All right.
He's connecting to audio, so he's not quite there yet. Okay, are you on board, Mike?
Yes.
Okay. I think we've got everybody here, so we will call our meeting to order. And if you'll join me for the flag salute, I'll go ahead and say it today. Sienna puts our little flag up there. I pledge allegiance to the flag
The flag of the United States of America
America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under God, indivisible.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Sienna.
Before I call roll, can I just remind everybody to go ahead and mute your microphone if you're not speaking? That would help with some of the confusion and the switching of the camera. Councilmember Glauser?
He's on mute.
It happens.
I'm here now. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Stanfield?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Trent?
Here.
Mayor Long?
Here. Thank you, Sienna. At this time, if anyone from the public wishes to call in and address the council about anything not on our agenda tonight, the number is 725-1484, and we'll give it a few seconds to see if the phone rings. So receiving no phone calls, we'll go into our first item of business, which is our consent calendar. We have 10 items tonight, including city council minutes and our departmental reports, including admin, community development, finance, parks and rec, police, public works, river lodge, report of disbursements, and the continuance of the declaration of a local emergency due to COVID-19. Does anyone wish to pull anything?
I'd like to pull 5 and 8.
Anyone else? All right, Mike, what's your comment on 5?
It actually covers both of them. The work that the CCC has been doing in the parks, they cleared out ivy from the trails up through the back behind the pavilion. They did a lot of work in the creek earlier, and I was walking through there today and noticed again how they removed ivy that was climbing the trees. They didn't remove it from the higher part of the tree, but they cut it to a point where they can't grow together, and the upper part will die off before it kills the tree. And just to make things even better, they donated some time and worked at the River Lodge pulling weeds. And I just think that they're a great asset to our community, not the work they do during the special events, and especially this work right here. I'm just glad they're part of our town.
Thank you, Mike. Yes. Sienna, do you think that you could get a card and we could all sign it and send them a thank you card?
I'd be happy to do that.
Okay. That sound okay, you guys?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, there are a bunch of really neat kids who do a lot for our community, so we do appreciate them. All right, moving on to city council business, we have
Wait a second, we gotta approve the consent calendar.
Thanks, Dean.
You betcha. Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve consent calendar items 1 through 10.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Sienna?
Councilmember Glauser,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Stanfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Trent,
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Thanks, Dean, for keeping me on my toes here. All right, now we'll move on to our city council business. Item A, authorization to award construction contract for the Zone 4-6 Waterline Intertie and Strongs Creek Culvert project to W. John Gray Construction. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mayor Long. I'll be presenting this staff report. We also have Kevin Carter, our Deputy Director of Public Works, in attendance. If there's any questions that you have that I can't answer, he'll be able to answer those. So I'm going to run through this real quickly. Staff's recommendation is to authorize the city manager to award the Zone 4-6 Waterline Intertie and Strongs Creek, Waterline Intertie to W. John Gray Construction and enter into a construction contract in the amount of $207,243.45 and establish a maximum contract amount, including a 10% contingency of $227,968. This project includes a combination of 2 of the city's water distribution pressure zones and will provide an increased level of reliability for water delivery. The project area is primarily located between the McLean Community Center and a utility easement on that property, and then along Ronerville Road north to Loop Road from that location near Newburgh Park. The bid package was publicly advertised on March 12th, and the bids were opened on April 14th, 2020. The city received 7 bids. The bids ranged from approximately $207,000 to $411,000. The lowest bid received for the project was from W. John Gray Construction and was determined to be responsive and responsible. The construction budget for the project in the CIP is listed at $300,000. The city and the total budget for the project was $350,000. Staff expects the entire project to come in at less than $300,000 for the entire project. This project is being funded by water reserves. Staff recommends that the council award the Zone 4-6 Waterline Intertie and Strongs Creek Culvert project to W. John Gray Construction, the amount listed in the staff report. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. And again, we have Kevin Carter here as well.
Does anyone have any questions for either Mayor or Kevin?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, my question is the very large difference of the lowest bid versus the next closest one. Is it because of a different variation of materials, or are they a construction company that's out of the area and they were desirous to try to get this contract, or are they a local construction company? Because I don't remember ever hearing their name before when we've had CIP projects.
Yeah, this is a local contractor. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, but we've also awarded them the Perk Pond project, and they've done that over the last couple of years. Or is this a different gray?
It's they're brothers actually.
They're brothers.
And they're partnering. Bill, the one that did the Perk Ponds, is a subcontractor for John, his brother, and John was a subcontractor for Bill for the Perk Ponds doing the trucking. So they work in conjunction.
Did they do the culvert on Harland Way as well?
They did do the culvert on Harlan Way. Yes, that was this company.
To answer your question, Councilmember Glaser, is they're a local firm and they performed well on past city projects.
Great. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Hearing none from the council, we will open it to public comment. If you would like to comment on this item, please call 725-1484. We received no calls, so we will move on to a motion.
Oh, nobody's going for it. All right. I'll read this long one. I hope there's a short one further for somebody else. Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to award the Zone 4 and 6 Waterline intertie in Strongs Creek Culvert Project, Capital Improvement Project 9938, to W. John Gray Construction in the amount of $243.45, and establish a maximum contract amount, including 10% contingency of $227,968, and authorize city manager or his designee to execute the contract and other related documents.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Sienna?
Councilmember Glaser,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Stanfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Trent,
Yes.
and Mayor Long.
Yes, thank you, Sienna. Our next item is authorization to award construction contract for the Countywide Accelerated Cure Slurry Project for 2020 to Dryco Construction. Staff report, please.
So again, our Deputy Director of Public Works, Kevin Carter, prepared the staff report. I'll present that, and Kevin's also available to answer questions if this comes up. It's staff's recommendation that the council authorize the city manager to award the Countywide Accelerated Cure Slurry Project to Dryco Construction and enter into a construction contract in the amount of $927,248.78 with no contingency. For the past several years, the city of Fortuna has partnered with other local jurisdictions, including the County Humboldt, City of Arcata, City of Eureka, Trinidad, and Rio Dell on an annual pavement maintenance project. Each year, the responsibility for soliciting and awarding bids, executing contracts, and paying contractors has rotated among select jurisdictions for a combination of fiscal years 2019, 2020, and 2020-21. This responsibility will fall onto the city of Fortuna. This type of maintenance project preserves the life and increases the longevity of streets by slurry sealing them. Working with the other agencies helps the city to receive lower construction costs and lower the administration costs by sharing those with the other cities. The city streets to be slurry sealed in Fortuna include the River Lodge parking lot, Park Street from Main Street to the loop in the park, 10th and 11th Streets from Main to L, Boyden Lane from Franklin to the end of the cul-de-sac, Dunaway Court from Boyden to the end of the cul-de-sac, Francisco Place from Senestraro to the end of the cul-de-sac, and Arizi Court from Francisco to the end of the cul-de-sac. The project was advertised on March 5th, and bids were
Can I make it? Let me jump in real quick. Sorry, Mayor. There's a typo there, or I made a mistake. Obviously, they weren't advertised in 2017, but they were. They were advertised February
2020.
25th, 2020, and the bids were open on April 6th, 2020. I'm sorry, I noticed that earlier, but there's an error on my behalf on writing the report.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. The bids range from $915,000 to $1,046,000 approximately, and were extremely competitive. The table with the amount of each bid is included with the staff report. Construction of this project is expected to take place in the summer and be completed by September. The city's portion of the work will be $96,353 approximately, will be included in the budget once the current is included in the 2020-2021 capital improvement program, and will be included in the budget once the current budget is approved. So this is for next fiscal year. The city administration of the project will require temporary appropriation of an additional $830,894, which will be reimbursed by partner agencies within 30 days of the expenditure on those city streets. Staff, there is also the commitment letters you can find from the other cities are in the staff report, so you can see those from all the other cities participating in the county. So with that, staff's recommendation is to award the countywide accelerated cure slurry project to Dryco Construction, the amount of $927,248.78. So with that, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mayor. Does anyone have any questions?
Madam Mayor, I'm back to the same question. Is Dryco a local or out of town business?
All of the contractors that have bid on this are from out of town. This is a specialty construction, and there's not enough work for a local contract. Typically, local contractors provide these types of services. So all of the bidders for this were from out of town.
The last time, if I remember right, the last time we did a slurry coating in town, wasn't there a shortage of the slurry materials? So we had a time delay. If that was the case, are these people going to guarantee that they do it in a timely manner?
So we have the contract provisions for performance, and we can hold them to that. But all I can say is I think everybody's going into it with the best intentions. I mean, there are some things that happen in circumstances beyond a contractor's control. So let's hope that's not the case. But right now, every indication is that they'll be able to get the project done on time.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a comment, if I remember right, the oil comes from out of town, but if Kevin can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the aggregate for the project is produced locally.
That's correct. I believe Mercer Fraser is their main supplier for the aggregate for the smaller sandy rock.
That's my only comment.
Anyone
The only
else?
other item is that there's the striping is a big portion of the project as well, and that was we don't have a local striper, so that's an out of town company as well.
Anyone else? We'll open it up for public comment. If you would like to comment on this item, please call 725-1484. We'll give it a few seconds and see if we get any phone calls. We see no phone calls. We will close public comment and move on to a motion.
I make a motion to award the Countywide Accelerated Cure Slurry 2020 project, CIP number 9953, to Dryco Construction in the amount of $927,248.78, and authorize the city manager or his designee to execute the contract and other related documents.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Sienna?
Councilmember Glauser,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Stanfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Trent,
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Thank you, Sienna. Our next item is authorization to award contract services for city attorney to Mitchell Law Firm. Staff report, please.
Yes, so the city of Fortuna formerly contracted with David Tranberg for legal services. Mr. Tranberg was a city attorney and provided legal services to the city for over 30 years. Mr. Tranberg resigned in March of 2019. Following Mr. Tranberg's resignation, the city contracted with the Mitchell Law Firm on an interim basis with Russell Gans and Ryan Plotz as the two primary attorneys for Mitchell Law Firm providing those services. A formal request for proposals was issued by the city and advertised in a newspaper of general circulation, and it was also emailed to several local law firms. On March 16th, the council approved a selection committee consisting of Mayor Long, Council Member Stanfield, City Manager, City Clerk, and the Police Chief. The request for proposals closed on March 27th, 2020. The city received 2 qualified proposals, one from the law office of Cindy Day Wilson and one from the Mitchell Law Firm. The selection committee evaluated the 2 proposals and identified the Mitchell Law Firm as the most qualified to provide legal services to the city. It was a consensus of the selection committee that the city contract with the Mitchell Law Firm, and that no follow-up interviews were needed to confirm the most qualified firm. The Mitchell Law Firm in Eureka currently serves several municipal clients in other cities and special districts within Humboldt County. The 2 primary attorneys for the Mitchell Law Firm that would continue to provide services for the city would be Russell Gans and Ryan Plotz. If awarded the contract, the Mitchell Law Firm will act as a legal representative of the city and advisor to the city council, the mayor, city manager, city staff, and various boards of commissions of the city. The firm selected would also perform other work as required for a 3-year term. A list of typical tasks that they would complete is included with the staff report. The anticipated amount for legal services is not expected to change with the hiring of the Mitchell Law Firm. In the past, we budgeted $75,000 a year for these legal services, and actually we reduced that to $60,000 in the current proposed budget. So we're expecting it to be slightly less. A copy of the proposal from the Mitchell Law Firm is included with the staff report. And with that, that concludes my presentation, and staff would be happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have questions? Hearing none, we will open it for public comment. If you would like to comment on this item, please call 725-1484. We received no public comment, so we'll move on to our next item. This one I'm excited about. Our item is consider. What?
Don't we need to
vote?
Oh, I keep skipping the motion thing.
Yeah,
We're moving on.
You want the
Better have
meeting
a
over
motion.
with.
Apparently I do.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute agreement for legal services with Mitchell Law Firm.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Sienna?
Councilmember Glauser,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Stanfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Trent,
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. See, I was just excited about this next one, and I've messed up twice already tonight. All right. Consider allowing Fortuna Union High School senior graduate pictures on Fortuna Boulevard median. We have a staff report.
Yes, so staff's recommendation is that the council authorize the Parks Department to place signs of graduating Fortuna Union High School seniors on the Fortuna Boulevard medians. Fortuna Union High School has approximately 180 graduating seniors who will not be able to have a formal graduation due to the COVID-19 restrictions. With the assistance from Safe and Sober, the high school would like to be able to work with park staff to place the signs on the boulevard medians to honor these seniors' accomplishments. The city ordinance exists that restricts the placement of signs on the median as well as requiring an encroachment permit in order to do so. The Safe and Sober Committee has submitted an encroachment permit for the installation of the signs. However, staff did not want to proceed without council approval, as the municipal code regarding the Fortuna Boulevard limits the types of signs that can be displayed. Our city attorney has reviewed the request and recommended that we can allow use of the median for photographs, provided safety measures are in place without the resolution. The municipal code also states that the performance of functions such as placing banners across the street, sidewalk sales, special events, closing of streets, etc., within the public right-of-way, which in any way place the city at risk or any way hinder or restrict the use of the right-of-way for its normal and customary function, require an encroachment permit. So therefore, these banners could be approved under the encroachment permit process. The signs would be spaced evenly by park staff in order to avoid perforations to irrigation lines or sprinkler heads, and they would be removed on or around June 8th, 2020. A photo of what the signs would look like is included with the staff report. The signs would be funded by the high school and Safe and Sober organization, and there would be no cost to the city beyond the staff time necessary for the placement. Therefore, it's staff's recommendation that the council authorize the high school and the Parks Department to place signs of graduating seniors, Fortuna Union High School seniors on the Fortuna Boulevard medians under an encroachment permit. And then also, one of the things that we're requesting is that we waive the fees for this. And again, I think this is, something that we're bringing to council. Again, we didn't want to contradict the municipal code and without council's approval, but we think this is something that will be supported by the community. It'll show the high school the support and something, that we can do in these times to try to ease the burden that the restrictions have placed from the normal graduate activities. So with that concludes my staff report, and I'll hand it back to the council. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer those.
Does anyone have any questions?
I think it's great.
I'm very about this.
All of the years that have gone by, I've probably been the most bulldogish and aggressive whenever I see an estate sales sign or a garage sales sign or a business, unbeknownst to what our municipal codes are, putting out a banana board to say that they're having a meat sale or the best coffee is available right across the street. So this is not a hard sell. This is a win-win for the entire city. And it also allows the high school's graduating class to be shown in full honor. And I think it's great. I think it's wonderful that the Safe and Sober money will be put into a really good use for the signage and whatever else it has to be required.
Any other comments? Well, I appreciate this, whoever brought this to us, the high school and the Safe and Sober Committee, and I am just glad that we're doing something for our kids. So we will open public comment on this item. If you would like to make a comment, please call 725-1484. Receiving no public comment, we will go back to our agenda for a motion.
Yeah, you caught. Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the Fortuna Union High School and the Parks Department to place signs of graduating Fortuna Union High School seniors on the Fortuna Boulevard medians and waive encroachment permit fees.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Sienna?
Councilmember Glosser,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Stanfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Trent,
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. All right, thank you guys. So our next item is a discussion item for the police facility planning update.
Okay, so I'll be providing this staff report. Really, staff wanted to come to the council to provide an update on the efforts to develop a police facility at 2600 Ronerville Road and seek council input on how to proceed forward. As the council is aware, the current police facility was originally constructed in the 1960s when the population of Fortuna was 4,000, with a minor expansion project to bring the facility to its current configuration in the mid-1990s. with a size of approximately 3,300 square feet, and that's including the basement. Currently, Fortuna has a population of roughly 3 times that of 12,600 people and has a significantly higher number of department staff. The size of the police department is projected to increase in number as the city continues to grow. Some of the deficiencies of the existing facility were documented in the memo from Chief Downey on February 28th and included lack of privacy and conflicts between uses, poor condition for dispatch, poor configuration and overlapping uses, security issues related to proximity of the department to the alley, lack of privacy for interviews, suspects and victims being interviewed in close proximity, lack of storage for files, evidence, and others, and only one meeting room, break room that served multiple purposes, including the patrol room and meeting room and conference room. Recognizing these deficiencies, in August 2019, the City Council authorized the city manager to make an offer on 2 properties at 2600 and 2650 Newburgh Road, the former site of the Eureka Physical Therapy building at the corner of Newburgh and Ronerville Road. And also authorized the expenditure of some money to complete a feasibility study to identify the suitability of the parcels for reuse as a police facility and develop a schematic design. The feasibility study was completed and the need was identified for the need for a long-term facility was identified with a size of approximately 13,000 square feet with an estimated cost of $5.4 million. Although the cost of a project this size is outside of what was found to be affordable by the city proceeded with the purchase with the hope of identifying funds in the future for the construction of a facility at that location. The city proceeded and closed escrow on the building on April 29th and took possession of the building approximately 3 weeks prior to the close of escrow after the onset of the COVID-19 emergency, with the primary reason of providing more space to our sworn and non-sworn personnel within the police department. One of the primary items is to protect the police was found to be having enough space that people weren't right next to each other and reducing the risk for transmitting disease, as well as having redundant facilities for scheduling so we don't have crews overlapping. In order to use the building, minor improvements were made in equipment purchases to secure the building and allow for the use of the space during the emergency, including radio and communication equipment and services, fencing, some additional computers, and cleaning supplies. Having this building at this time has improved the safety for the department and the police department's ability to respond to the COVID-19 emergency. Additionally, the building being occupied and being used by the police will ensure that it's maintained or repaired on a regular basis, not to mention provided needed space for patrol staff to spread out and work. It is our hope that we can recover much of the money spent to move the building in this emergency time from FEMA as part of the city's emergency response effort. In fact, we have a phone call with FEMA tomorrow to discuss grant reimbursement and the steps that will be needed to seek that reimbursement. And I'd just like to contrast this. The last facility that the city bought at 280 12th Street was never occupied by the police. And so we think this is the police occupying this building and making use of it is something that's different in the last effort that we had at the prior location, and one that's ultimately going to lead to this building being accepted and having utility for the department. In fact, our police staff who have been working at the building have come together and they have identified a layout within the existing building footprint that could meet the needs of the department on a short-term basis. So the existing building with the enclosed area, including the area of the pool, which would need to be converted, is approximately 5,700 square feet. And keep in mind the usable space in the existing police facility is closer to 3,000 square feet, so almost double the size. So staff, with this concept that our police have developed, staff would like to contract with an architect or building designer to develop a design suitable for bidding and to get an estimate for what it would take to remodel this existing building within the existing footprint for use as a police facility. Doing so would provide the police department with a more functional space, and it would provide the city with an alternative to the $5.4 million project that was identified during the last feasibility study that was provided. We don't have exact costs for the renovation of the existing building, but they could be anywhere between $300,000 and $750,000 and possibly more. But again, we won't know that until we do some more design work and have a detailed construction estimate. So at this point, staff would like to spend an additional $25,000 to $30,000 to develop a construction drawings and that updated estimate for the interim use of that building as a police facility. Additionally, although we have a project identified in the draft 2020-2021 CIP, the cost of the project is unknown. So currently, this project is held in there as a placeholder. We can continue to leave that in there as an indication from council that the city would like to proceed with the project. But I just wanted to remind the council that this ultimate dollar amount is subject to change. But at the council could decide whether you want to keep it in the budget or whether you want to pull it out, and then when we know actual costs, add it back in. But at this point, staff would like to keep it in at the amount of $300,000, but just wants council to acknowledge that we don't have a real cost for that at this time. So we also have Chief Downey on the phone. Mike, I don't know if I missed anything that you'd like to state, or if you have any other comments before we give it back to the council.
Yeah, I'd like to. The city manager mentioned that we would be doubling the size of our current location by moving to the Newburgh property. Actually, in reality, based upon what we actually use at the current police station, if you take the basement away, which is basically just storage, we really don't utilize it for much more than that. We'll be more than doubling by quite a bit, because the functionality of the space that at the Newburgh property is vastly superior to what we currently have at the current police station. And it also signifies a great opportunity for the council to deliver on a new police station for the police department, and for the police officers and staff. They're very excited. They're motivated. They're all in on this project. I can't emphasize that enough. I have not found a dissenter among any of my staff for this project. They're all in. They're all very eager to get going on this. And it took a little bit of convincing, but I was able to just bring it back to the point that $5 million in today's world to try and not only reconfigure the building that's there, but to add on is just not feasible right now. I really truly believe that what we have with this opportunity we have now will fit the needs of the police department for at least 5 years and possibly longer. That gives the council time to come up with a new design if they need to for adding on to the existing location, or to come up with funding to deal with future build out. So I think this is a great opportunity. And if you have any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mike.
Just one more comment, Mayor Long. And the only wrinkle, I think, if we weren't dealing with this COVID emergency, that's the really only confounding factor. Initially, we wanted to come back and ask for more money to do a really, complete and thorough job, but we recognize, right now that we have to be as frugal as possible. But I guess I would just say that I think it's important to show continued diligence on this project to demonstrate the commitment of the city to our police department to get them an adequate facility. So if the council did want us to move forward and procure more design services, we would go through a competitive process and look for an architect or building designer that could help us with an interior remodel. It would be pretty modest. It would mostly be interior walls. There would be some structural work that would have to happen to occupy the area that was formerly a pool and a hot tub. And then it would be mostly interior walls, with the exception of one corner where there would be kind of a pop out on the building where there's an indentation right now. But it would be a very modest project, and one that really seeks just to convert, the whole building to a usable space. And again, the floor plan that our police have come up with, they've demonstrated at least that they think the space will be sufficient for their needs.
So you have a $25,000 request, and then you would put that out to bid to get an architect?
Yeah, I think we'd want to look for proposals, and because that's above the threshold that we have to go to competitive selection. We had some time pressure on us last time, And so we did a sole source for the last work, but we would ask for proposals on this one. And, you know, so I would come back with a supplemental budget request if the council approved that. That's not really in there tonight, but if council provided me direction and wanted to approve that tonight, you could. And then what I would do is process a supplemental budget request. So we'll have to craft the motion that you have if there's some consensus with the council tonight to capture the direction that you'd like to give to me moving forward.
Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Yeah, Madam Mayor.
Go ahead, Dean.
Okay, thanks, Tam. Two questions. One, how many times have we gone to the general fund reserves to pull money out that truly is important to be left in there, whether we've tried to have matching money for grants or special purchases? You know, one of the goals of Measure E was to put money back into the general reserve funds. It seems as though we're failing because we're taking it out more than what we're putting in. Number two, when we had the Tamferini facility and we did have money outstanding that was in holding, the police department, I want to use the word foolishly, but with purpose, went out and paid architectural people to come up with plans, and it never went anywhere, and fell flat, and they used up what was in that little pot. And so that sort of remains as a core subject on the bad side of the way I look at what could possibly happen with the coronavirus restriction of revenues that is aggressively going to hit us, and it probably will have to address this again in the next first half of the fiscal year. To me, it's false hope to be spending $25,000 on architectural designs or putting it out for bid when we won't be able to do diddly squat until things get back to par and we actually get somehow or another find grant money, whether it becomes from FEMA or whatever federal agency. It really, I think we should be more conservative, hold back and say it's not the time to be taking money out of general reserves. You have the facility right now to benefit from. Let's wait a few months to see how we recover from how the lifting of our restrictions come into play, and then readdress it.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I have one. I'm going to have to disagree with Dean. And I would highly suggest that the rest of the council, I contacted Chief Downey, and he gave me a tour of what they've done down there. And they've got the floor all marked out with tape. They've got a nice plan drawn. They've put a lot of work and a lot of effort into this, and they're very excited. It's very conservative what they're planning on do. There's nothing extravagant about it. I think this is a good opportunity for at least to get a police station started, and we can't get a price on how much it's going to cost, so we can't start looking for money to do the work until we have the plans done. So I think, it's a small price to pay just to get the plans done, because we've got that building, we will be using these plans, so that money won't be going to waste. And then we can start looking for the funds to do the remodel. And I would suggest to the rest of the council to contact Chief Downey. He would gladly give you a tour of the place down there. And you can see they've got tape on the walls where they're going to put doorways. They've got the floor all taped out where the rooms are. So it gives you a really good idea of what's going to happen down there. That's all.
I would add that getting plans drawn is a process. And even if we go out now and we get our person, it's still going to be a few months before they would be finalized. So starting now with our $25,000 doesn't mean we're going to start construction, because it's definitely a process to get the plans drawn, make changes, go back to the table, come back to the architect, back to the PD. So it's something we could do right now while we're waiting for this COVID-19 thing to pass, and then we would be ready down the road.
I agree that it's part of the process of getting started. We don't know where we're going until we have a layout of what we can do, and utilizing what they've already laid out and then having it put down and make a set of plans. You can then do takeoffs, get the materials list, and figure out with labor how much it costs to actually do it. May not happen for a while, but at least we know where we're going instead of sitting on the sideline.
Well, I appreciate how much they've pared down their ask from the original 13,000 square foot conception. So I'm willing to put the additional monies into the hands of the people that need to use it to get those drawings drawn up. So I'm in favor of the additional expenditure.
Mayor Long, if I could just make one comment too. This has been a long ongoing effort. You know, if you recall the architectural feasibility study that happened in 2014, 2015, they identified a building at the old dealership at 280 12th Street. And, you know, that project came in with a price tag over $10 million. We then identified the site at 2600 Ronerville Road in an effort to find something that's more affordable and perhaps, you know, modifying the existing building with an addition might have a lower cost and still meet the needs of the department. We got to a $5.4 million project, and now we're hoping to get something identified that costs less than $1 million. And again, I think we've all acknowledged, you know, the council has acknowledged and staff has recognized that there's a need for this change. And so I appreciate the council's direction. Again, I guess we can't have a motion because it's a discussion item, but if the council has a consensus or is leaning towards providing us direction to bring back a supplemental budget request and start procuring those services, I think that's all I need. So if that's the council's general direction, then I think I have a sense.
I'm just excited about this one because the police are on board, and I think that's just really important, and that getting their buy-in on this project and getting them all involved, I think is just a win-win, and I'm hoping that we can actually get them a facility of some sort, at least this part of it.
Yeah, I think Mayor Pro Tem's suggestion that any interested council members tour the site, I think is a good one. I think you can really see the potential and really see the, the cost-effective solution that this could be for a long-term need.
Does anyone have any other thoughts or comments? Should we open public comment? If you would like to make a comment on this item, please call 725-1484. We received no phone calls, so from what comments that everyone has made, it sounds like we're gonna give the direction to our city manager to pursue the architect for the budget of $25,000. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, Sienna's giving me a signal here. Do we have a caller?
We've received one caller and we're going to put him through right now.
Thank you.
Are you there? Go ahead, sir. You're live with the city council.
Sienna, we can't hear anything.
Okay, hang on, Mike. Hang on, Mike. They're having a hard time picking you up. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, can you try one more time, Mike?
Okay.
Go
There we
ahead.
Can I start over?
Okay, please start over, Mr. Losi. Thanks.
Okay. My name is Michael Osi. I'm a resident of the city of Fortuna. And I believe that we need to go forward with this project with the expenditure contained in a supplemental budget request of $25,000. I believe it's important to have this project in moving forward. And I do appreciate the comments made by Dean, but I think that this is an important project, and I believe that this city would be in a good position to move forward with this. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sienna. Anyone else? Is no one, phone's not ringing anymore? Okay. Thank you, Mike, for calling in. All right, so we still have our direction to our city manager. So you're good to go, Merritt.
Thank you.
All right, now our city manager's report.
Okay, so first to review our upcoming meeting schedule, bright and early tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. We have a special budget meeting that'll also be by Zoom teleconference. Our next regular council meeting will be on June 1st, also still scheduled to be via teleconference. Our next planning commission meeting will be on May 26th at 6 p.m. Our next Measure E meeting is scheduled for September 15th, 5:30 p.m. And the next Roner Community Recreation Park District meeting will be on June 3rd at 2:30 p.m. I have a few things to report in my verbal report. One of them is that we've been continued to monitor the reopening of businesses throughout the county under the direction of the county public health and the sheriff's office. We have volunteered some of our city staff to assist the county staff with certifying businesses in Fortuna in an effort to move the opening of those businesses forward without delay. We're also in the process of developing a plan to reopen City Hall to normal business and acquiring the materials and supplies to do so. We hope to have a draft plan by the end of the week that includes safety measures, distancing measures, health monitoring, disinfection stations, and other items for normal necessary to resume normal operations. We are proceeding with our police chief recruitment, and we have made a conditional offer of employment to a police chief candidate and are moving forward with the next step in the hiring process. Ultimately, the council will have to approve the hire and the contract for that position, so the council will have some approvals. I continue to work with our finance director and department heads to finish the city budget. We brought the draft budget, as you know, to the council last week in a budget session. We have one more tomorrow, but we're continuing to fine tune that and refine our recommendations as we move forward with the budget. One of the items that we're paying close attention to is the assumptions for the revenue loss from sales tax. Different cities are making different estimates, and that's one thing that we want to be very careful, and our finance director is going back and double checking those assumptions, because again, our revenue loss projections are just that. They're an assumption primarily from our sales tax consultant, HDL. But again, we really don't know exactly what that's going to be. And, to Councilmember Glazer's comments earlier, we're going to have to continue to look at our budget. We're going to have to continue to look at sales tax every quarter and adjust our budget accordingly. We don't know how this is going to play out. So it's a very uncertain time for cities and budgets. Again, this is our best guess today, and every day we're learning more and we're understanding the timeline that this is going to take. So this is a very important area that we're going to continue to pay attention through, not only until we approve a budget, but afterwards. That concludes my verbal report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Merritt? All right, thank you, Merritt. I know it's been hard working from home and back and forth and all that, but I'm hoping we're almost done. Future items. Anything?
Madam Mayor,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, Tammy. No, you
I was
did
just
last time. You get to go ahead, Tam.
Okay. I was just going to say that I was up early this morning and went to my Zoom meeting for our budget at 8:30 this morning, and there's nobody there. I called Sienna. She wouldn't answer her phone. I finally called Sue, and the meeting's tomorrow. I thought it was today, and I deliver feed the ER tomorrow morning. So I don't know if we can postpone it till like, I could be back by 9:15, or if I just check out during that time and come back. I don't know exactly what the right thing to do here is.
Wouldn't necessarily be able to postpone it because it's already been posted with that 8:30 time. So the only way I could see proceeding would be to call the meeting to order and then adjourn the meeting to a time certain, if that is what your council would want to do. Otherwise, it would be a canceled meeting, and then we could call a special meeting within 24 hours.
Whatever the council wants to do, if they want to start it at 8:30 and I'll just leave for that half hour and come back, or if they want to start it and postpone it till 9:15, it's up to the council.
So Tammy, we're talking about the water and wastewater funds to start out tomorrow. Did you have anything in there that was concerning? Were there any questions or anything that would you feel like you were missing out if you missed part of that?
No, I would not feel like I was missing out.
Okay, well, based on that, I think that if you don't have any grave concerns, we probably should just keep it at 8:30 and you go and do your thing and come back as quick as you can.
Okay.
That sounds like what everyone else would want to do.
Well, actually, I like to start at 10 o'clock, but I got voted out.
I think
I
that
can't
will work.
Hopefully we'll be done by 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
We'll start
Okay.
doing a filibuster.
All right, moving on to city council reports and comments.
Wait. It was,
What?
what for future agenda items?
You took too long.
No, I had to courteously give Tammy the limelight.
All
Okay.
right.
I brought it up at one of the meetings about banning 5G cell towers in the city. But if we do that and address it, it has to be after the coronavirus thing is over with. So we actually have a public meeting at River Lodge or whatever big facility where the public can actually show up to express their dissent. So I do definitely want to follow through on that, but like I said, it's a time issue with coronavirus and the lack of openings in any kind of a huge public forum.
So if we put this off, can they just come into our town anyway while we're snoozing, or do
No.
they have permission?
They,
Merritt?
as far, go ahead, Merritt.
We are working, we actually have a proposal in front of the city now, so this is something I'd like to bring to the council sooner than later, and our planning department's working on a staff report for that now, so I anticipate that we'll want to bring this forward before the coronavirus emergency subsides, because we have projects that are being requested in the city at this time. So it's something that I want to bring to the council sooner than later, and we'd like to keep this as a future agenda item.
Well, I have to object, but there's a lot of people that could provide ample enough discussion versus the company that wants to inadvertently put it down our throat. And the public needs to be available, not have a Zoom feed, but actually be present to be able to talk in person. So I'd rather delay it from the planning commission's push. If the 5G gentleman is pushing it, that pretty much tells me that it's a wrong direction to go. I'd rather have it so that if it's delayed 5-6 months, that's not on the agenda for the planning commission, that's fine.
I think though we have guidelines that tell us we have to process applications within so many days. Is that true, Merritt? Merritt, you're still on mute.
Again, our community development department is looking at that. They're consulting with the attorney, but I've heard Councilmember Glazer's comment that he'd like to delay it. And at this point, if we bring it forward sooner, it'll be out of necessity.
This was an item of discussion during our transportation, communication, and public works policy committee meetings. And I will see if I can find the material that was provided during that, because there was, it was a big deal there too. And there was an attorney there, and I will see what I can look up in the material that was provided during that meeting back in January.
That would be helpful. Thank you.
Okay. So I think that we're all in agreement that this is something we want to address, and we probably shouldn't talk about it too much more right now since it is not on the agenda.
Oh.
I think that we're definitely in agreement that we want to see this on our agenda. Anything else for future public agenda items? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to city council reports. Dean?
Madam Mayor, it's so nice to be able to talk to all of you. The Redwood Coast Energy Authority, I don't have anything to report. I did want to, just as a weather blurb, did anybody experience that rain power cell that hit about 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon that was dumping water like a fire hose? Because it just about flushed my house off my yard. It was huge. I have been expressing my desire for having the opening of businesses that are practical. And I know businesses have to submit applications with the Department of Health and Human Services to be approved proactively. There have been more public outcries at the courthouse, and those will continue, demanding that people get to have their lives returned back to where they used to be with common sense. And I read the implication that some of the openings that were going to be coming into play were going to be held in checks and balances by Dr. Frankovich based on the loss of life of a 97-year-old lady from Alder Bay. And I hope that she does not delay the opening of the businesses based on one person and hold 150,000 members of citizens in Humboldt County hostage. I do want to express my appreciation for all of the members of the community, the businesses, retails, the police departments, the EMTs, the people at hospitals, all the people that are on the front line trying to do their job as effectively as possible, having to wear those masks, which are the most godly things trying to breathe through, and do it without catching the virus. You people have such admiration from all of us as council, and for our city employees doing the same thing. You are essential workers, making sure that we have water and we have sewer functions, we have the streets being taken care of, the police department defending us. You know, it's all bonus points for all of you, and kudos, kudos, kudos. So to Dr. Frankovich, when the Jewish people were talking to the king of Egypt saying, let my people go, I have to say the same thing. Let my people in Fortuna go and let them do what they should be doing with common sense and protections. God bless America. God bless our troops. And yes, I want this to end. I'm growing old and ready to get back to way of life at the council chambers so we can actually tease each other 2 feet away rather than talking to a cell phone.
Thank you, Dean. Mike?
Thank you. I've had interestingly enough, a busy couple of weeks. I've been attending the League of California City webinars, one on CalPERS, which was interesting. The other on small cities, that was part of the Small Rural City listserv and group, and opening City Hall back up and providing services for our community. And I believe that the Humboldt County started opening their offices up today. There was a lot of protocols to go through, but they will be able to start serving their citizens and attending permits and such as that. I also attended a Zoom meeting with Assemblyman Huffman and Representative Huffman. And that was interesting also. And I will say that if you attend one of his, you will be called upon to ask a question or speak or make a comment. It everybody had an opportunity. There were people there from Eureka, Arcata, Trinidad, Crescent City, and one more, but I can't remember where, besides me from Fortuna. And one of the discussions was on revenue loss as a COVID-related expense, because it is. I also been calling into the weekly OES Humboldt County conference calls. We had a historical commission meeting. Haven't had one of those for a while, and our new historical commissioner, former council member Doug Strell, got to participate in that, but probably not in the way he anticipated. We discussed the annual goal setting and exhibits, and then also have finally a HCOG meeting this coming Thursday, which will also be done by Zoom. So since I've been Zooming around, I decided to put my Hawaiian gear on and look forward to a vacation, hopefully in March, because we have 5 Mondays that month. So I'm planning. So that's all I have to report now.
Thank you, Mike. Your Hawaiian shirt is kind of making me a little mad because I was supposed to be in Hawaii right now.
This is not a good time to go to Hawaii. You'd spend 14 days in your motel room.
That's why I didn't go. So that's just like a tease thing going on there. Jeremy.
I have a Fortuna Business Improvement District Zoom meeting scheduled for Wednesday. That'll be the first one we've had in a couple of months. I do want to acknowledge the hard work that the Fortuna Business Improvement District Director and the Director of the Chamber of Commerce have been doing to keep our business community informed throughout the COVID crisis, and just appreciate their daily input to help people navigate the reopening of businesses and the compliance of businesses and so forth. Parks and Rec has not met recently, but I have noticed all the efforts on the boulevard with the repair of the sprinklers and the edging and mowing was so nice to see. All the trimming of the trees. Just really been noticing how hard those guys are working throughout all this. And then I also wanted to acknowledge that I've noticed a lot of foot patrols up and down Main Street with the PD, which is great as well. So other than that, I don't have anything else to report. Just hope everybody stays happy, healthy, and safe. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeremy. Tammy?
I had a Humboldt Transit Authority meeting, and they're working on trying to get the transits back on the regular schedule. They were running with no fees, but finding out running with no fees, they're getting a lot of people on there that really aren't going anywhere. They just want to get out of the weather, so there's not any room for the people that actually need it. So they're going to go back to charging fees. They have worked out a plan to put the driver kind of like in a glass cage almost to protect the driver from everybody, so they can actually have people come in one door and out the other, and they'll still be doing sectioning off seating, but they are working on trying to get back to a little bit of normal. And that's the only meeting that I've gone to. So that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Tammy. So I have been quiet on meetings as well. REDEC, due to Memorial Day, is meeting right now. So neither Jeremy or I were able to attend that because we are here. So there was a Cruise Humboldt event in Fortuna last Friday night, which was very well attended, and they want to do it again this Friday night. I would really like to thank the PD and the fire department for joining in, and I would just like to encourage people that if you want to do this, you need to follow the laws. You cannot burn out, you cannot speed, you cannot race, you cannot do all of those things. So if you don't want to ruin it for everyone else, please behave yourselves if you want to join. I feel bad for our police department and the frustrations that they are dealing with right now with not even being able to take anyone to jail and just constantly rearresting the same people over and over. And I can't imagine how frustrating that must be to all of them. So thank you guys for hanging in there and for continuing to do a great job for Fortuna. So I don't have anything else at this time either. So if we would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Closed session.
Motion to adjourn to closed session.
We have closed session?
Yep.
Huh. Okay. Guess we'll adjourn to closed session.
All those in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. I got to find my, I only printed out the first 2 pages of the agenda. So apparently I needed one more page.
And I can share, I have all the materials we need, we can share. So I'd suggest maybe like a 5-minute just, or a couple-minute break while we transfer computers and make sure we're logged off. And if we could have the council stay on and maybe mute.
We only have Kevin and Mike Downey on here, right? That need to log off or leave the meeting.
Yeah, and then we're broadcasting on Access Humboldt. So I just want to make sure we get our trans off. So
Okay, well, somebody signal when
Yeah.
they're ready.
then we'll let you know when we get everything closed down and we're done recording.
Okay.
You need to read out the closed session item.
Yeah, I'm trying to find.